This is 1K to 1M. We started with 1,000. We're at 800,000. So we're filthy liars because this is actually 1K to 800K, 843K, whatever. If you're new to this weekly series, it's where we started with 1K and we flipped cards, we played the auction house, and we just try to make as much coins as we can by doing that. This past week was eventful for a number of reasons. First of all, evolution cards came out, so what I did was I sat on the auction house for about an hour and tried flipping some of those. If you remember my series from last year, I was able to snipe multiple evolution line A's because people thought that they were the base cards, so they were selling them for like 10K, and I instantly flipped them for 100K. That wasn't the case this year, as A, people are smarter, and B, there were hardly any cards hitting the market, primarily because most of the evolution cards are in the sets. The better option was to go for the evolution collectibles and flip those because they were going for 50K, and some people were selling them for like 10 to 20K. So take note of that in case EA decides to do an event like that in the future. We're going to slow things down here because the other thing that was added was a brand spanking new auction house, which should have been added years ago, and it does have its problems. Clearly wasn't tested extensively, probably because they didn't deal with this many cards. In case you guys were unaware, you can flip between the pages just by using your D-pad going to the right or to the left. You can't use the bumpers right now, but they're looking into adding those. So yeah, the 10 or 14 cards on your screen aren't the only cards that are being sold. But one thing I absolutely love about this auction house is just how fast you're able to search. Me going through all these filters, this is like my daily run. I go through Toronto, Tampa, Quebec, New Jersey, Nashville. It's just so fast. This method where I flip alumni cards just got even easier. I do like EA's initiative here, however, and they'll fix all the bugs and all the error codes that show up while you're using it. But these alumni cards are my bread and butter this year, just like special edition cards like Team of the Week and Primetime Player of the Game cards were my specialties in NHL 17 and 18, and even before that, but I didn't make the series back then. The amount of flips that I got this past week were just absolutely incredible. When I made last week's episode, in the next 2 or 3 days, I already had enough clips to make the next episode. And at that point, I didn't even get to upload another type of video. So now getting into the next week, I can't even show you all of the clips that I have just because it's gonna last like an hour. So sometimes it's not just enough to know what a card should be going for. When I do my quick run of the auction house, I don't just look for the good deals, but I also see what the price of the card I'm looking at is going for. And I see how many are available. In this case, I'm looking at Steve Shutt, and I reach into my stockpile of his cards and know that I can really milk his card right now, selling it for 50K. It may sell, it may not, but at least it has a good chance of selling just because that's the only Steve Shutt on the market right now, and it's the cheapest one, even though it's at 50K. And so while he may have been worth that before, at this particular time, he was going for about 30 to 40K, so 50K was quite a bit. Knowing the price of this Walker, I know I can sell him for 20K. I've sold so many of him for 20K, so seeing a lonely Scott Walker up for 12K, you know you gotta scoop him up and put him for that price. So one thing I did look at, but I didn't do it extensively, is the spam method. The way you do this method after the auction house update is you press the search button, which is Y or triangle, then hope something pops up, and then you press A. So it's YA. But I found out how to take this a step further so you can get ahead of all those people that don't watch my videos. Once you have your parameters set, whether it's gold common cards, gold rare cards, whatever you decide, you can scroll down to team, which is pretty much the locked out option. When you do it from here, pressing the bottom button won't accidentally have you go into the buy now range or whatever you're going into. If you're working with collectibles, you can also hover over rarity so you don't go into anything there either. And overall, it just increases your efficiency when doing this method. But I'm not about that life because you have to contribute a decent amount of your time at once to try to get a good amount of coins flipping those cards. With these alumni, it just takes 5 minutes out of my day or out of my hour whenever I decide to do it. I try to do this at least every hour. For like the 3 or 4 hours, I actually have some free time nowadays. So that's like 20 minutes a day. And then multiply that by a week and some change. And I'm not spending more than like 3 hours for this video. One thing that really helps with this method is already having a good amount of coins to start with. Because I can stockpile cards like this Nick Kyprios, which I'm not even flipping instantly. I'm just holding him and hoarding him. And that's what I do with a lot of cards, where I buy them and then instantly throw them into my collection. If there are too many people selling the card or the price just isn't to my liking, we would just revisit that card sometime in the future to sell them later. Normally, you do want to be selling something all the time because you want your stream of coins to always be flowing. But that's mostly if you're not swimming in coins and hut cards like PK Subban. So these Nick Kyprios cards, I think I have like 10 copies of him, and his price just isn't increasing over like 15k. So maybe it will in like a week or a month. We'll see. At worst, I'll sell it back at the price I bought it for, or just a little bit lower, but I'm always on the lookout for cards significantly cheaper, and then just throw them up and get a little bit of profit. So this right here was my ballsiest play of the week. We got 2 Brindamores going for about 150k each, and at the time I was sitting at almost exactly double that at around 300k. I go back and forth for about 5 minutes, and I decide I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna buy both of these cards. After buying the first one, I'm kind of like second guessing myself. I'm like, oh my god, did I really just do that? But yeah, I buy both of them, hoping to sell them for about 200k, which is a 50k profit. After that, I end up selling a few cards, and I'm sitting at only 50k, and this Joseph going for 85k. I can't do anything about him, and I'm just like forced to look for cards to sell really quick, and I just didn't know which of these cards will sell in the next minute. And in the end, I just gave up on him. But 85k, we know he could easily sell for 120k. No one wanted to bid on him. It was pretty crazy. That's why you always want to have coins on you for those epic steals. Amazing snipes on the auction house. And some may come from the times where the starting price is really low, but for some reason, no one's bidding on it. So it's going to expire in the next 2 minutes. You just got to sneak up on it, and with 20 seconds left, put a bid on it and watch over it. And hopefully you end up getting it. This next clip didn't end up recording properly, but I recently sold a Rod Brindamore for 175k, so I knew how much he was worth, or at least a rough estimate. So when I go back and look at the Brindamore prices, I find one for 145k, and you know I have to scoop that one up instantly without even thinking about it, because he should be able to sell for the 175k, and that's about a 25k profit. Right beside that Brindamore was a Keith Primeau. Now, it's important that you know the history of these hut cards, because this Keith Primeau, there's only, I think, 5 or 10 of them. They were given out in the first alumni competitive seasons for finishing in the top 10, I believe, in the season. So he's extremely rare. He's not very good, so don't get him to use him, but definitely get him to flip him. 165k is absolutely a steal. I was planning on buying the 205k one, and then I was surprised to see an even cheaper one by a significant amount. That's why I ended up changing this price to 250k instead, because I feel like he's gonna sell for that, and I was right. He did end up selling for that in the next couple of days, and honestly, I feel like I could have gone way higher. Same idea of all these cards that I'm buying. They're limited edition alumni cards. You should definitely be making a list, checking it twice, of all of these limited edition alumni cards if you plan on flipping in this market, because these are the cards that there won't be any more copies of, at least maybe not for a while. EA might release a pack in the future that where they show up again. I don't know, maybe not. They're pretty low overall, so it might not be useful. So another interesting that happened this past week, look at what I put this Scott Walker up for. 30k. I've been selling him for 15 to 20k, but I go on the auction house and I notice that all the Scott Walkers are disappearing, and someone put them up for like 35K. Turns out someone was trying to price lock him so that he was the one controlling the market. What I would do is I would put one up for 30K, have that one sell, and then instantly put up another one for 30K. And I ended up selling, what, five Scott Walkers, anywhere between 20 to 30K, which he should not be like selling that quickly, that easily for that price. And then after that, I ended up buying a lot of them back, so it was just free coins in my pocket. As we near the end of the video, I am doing more of the same. I'm stockpiling the new card in Garon, the goalie. I find a cheap haul for under 5K, just gotta put a new contract on him, so I do that real quick. If I just sell him for like 7K, I already make a profit, so it doesn't really matter. As long as I buy him, it should be a profit. And then Albalin's one of my favorite cards to sell. That dude just wants to sell instantly for 30K. People put him up for under 15K, and it's just easy money. So now let's review all the different cards that I sold. Some of these cards, such as the Pedersen and the gold rares, and there's also going to be a Tavares in there, I sold them for a number of different reasons. I either needed quick coin, or they're from the spam method, or I had duplicates of them, and they're not really going to be included in the series in terms of how much profit I make overall. But hopefully this range of players helps you guys understand how much these cards go for and how easily I'm able to sell them. So you'll see cards like Hall and Kennedy not showing up very often because I'm having trouble selling them. Whereas cards like Walker, Fedotenko, Albalin, those cards sell like cake. Shut's been a nice recent one on the Xbox, where before there were like tons of them, and now there aren't that many, so I've been selling him pretty consistently. But yeah, we made bank this past week. It was even more than the week before. At this point, it is time to take a look at our spreadsheet and check out our data. Over this past week, we have sold so many cards. Like double the amount we had before. 50 cards for a total of 422,000 profit. And this is the kicker. These are only cards that I sold. There were so many cards that I bought that I didn't get a chance to sell, bringing up this profit even more. So if I were just go through them kind of slowly, or I guess just a little bit slower, first thing you'll notice is 300% for Eriksson. Wow, that's crazy. Except it's not, because it's only a 3K profit. I bought him for 1K, sold him for 4K. Not that exciting, and that's going to be my biggest profit. You'll notice here I sold a Lefebvre for just barely any profit. The reason for this, I didn't record the amount that I bought these cards for very well, so I'm digging back at like a Lefebvre that I bought a long time ago for 13K, and the first card that I just ended up selling here was for 14K, when maybe this particular one could have actually been bought for 6K, and I instantly sold it for 14K. I still try to make sure that every price that I possibly bought a card for is on here, and every card that I sold is on here as well. So scrolling down, we have a bunch of profits between like 3K, 8K, a Fedotenko we bought for 11K, sold for 23K. That's a decent profit. Same with Walker, 6K to 20K. That's a 13K profit. We get some smaller profits here, so it's not that big of a deal. And then we find the guy down here that bought up all of our Walkers. Bought them for between like 10 to 13K. So we were able to get all of this profit, which amounts to 65K profit in a matter of like 3 minutes. That all transpired. And he ended up even sending me a message on Twitter, because I was going to send out a tweet to tell everyone to sell all of their Walkers right now on the Xbox, because someone's just buying them all up. But he sent a message to me saying, stop selling Walkers or something like that. So good times, let me tell you. Down here, we get our first loss of the series, honestly, in the past, like, 3 years, in this Lepresti. Maybe I had a loss before, but this one was a lot more glaring, because I was buying these Leprestis early on for 50K, and he went down in price to 40K. So unfortunately, I not only took the 10K loss of how much I bought him for and how much I sold him for, but also tax counts into the loss for a loss of 12K. That's okay. We gained like 500K coins. 12K isn't gonna dent that all too much. And then especially with cards like Brindamore that put us back up on top with a 16K profit, 22K profit down here. Then we scroll down some more. We get another 15K profit from Fedotenko, a 72K profit from Keith Primeau. That is amazing. We lose out a little bit more on Lepresti. And that's how we end up getting the 422K. Moving on from there, I have written down a bunch of cards and the prices that I bought them for. So we have a stockpile of the Kyprios, the Kennedy, the Halls, the Fedotenkos, Garon. And this kind of just gives me a good idea on what I should be selling them for what kind of profit. So Kyprios kind of sucks that we bought like 2 of them for 14K, that his price went down to 8 to 10K. But if I can just sell them back at 15K or wait until they're at 20K, that's great there. Here, the Kennedys, anywhere between like 6 and 7K. So selling him for 10K would give me a good profit. Same with Hall. Fedotenko, while there's a 15 and 16K one that I guess I'm aware of, I know that he can sell for 20 to 25K. Garon, 5K, but I think his price can go back up to 15K. And then Brindamore was actually the last Brindamore in the last clip that I just ended up selling for 200K. So that is great. Didn't get to add him to my list. And now this is what I still have in my inventory that I haven't sold yet, which is pretty crazy. So I have 8 Halls, 6 Walkers, 2 Shuts, 2 Brindamores, 5 Fedotenkos, 3 Lefevres, 4 Kyprioses, 4 Garons, and 10 Kennedys. I have a number here kind of similar to what I showed down here, though this was raw data and it was pretty messy. I didn't like plan on presenting this like beautifully. It was just primarily here for this data for the inventory. So you have the average price we bought them for. We want to sell them for about this price, and this is how much coins we would end up getting. I guess this doesn't include tax, so let's do that real quick. Since tax is 5%, this is how much coins, if we lived in a perfect world, we would get, which is actually really close to the amount of coins that I have in the last clip. So I would be doubling that amount of coins to be at about 1.5 million coins. So to summarize episode 4, our total cumulative profit is 570,000. In episode 4 alone, we got 422,000 in just 1 week. A lot of tax got eaten up, 93K, that's okay. Our biggest gain was selling the Primeau for 250K, buying him for like 160K, I think it was. Biggest gain percentage-wise is Erickson, who cares? Inventory, we still have another 820K coins worth of cards to get through. So for episode 5, hopefully I have 1 million coins ready for you guys to look at. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoy the video. If you need any additional help with the auction house, with market, with flipping cards, let me know in the comments below, and I would be happy to help you out.